The multi-billion-dollar opportunity, I think it's probably bigger than that, guys. What do you think?
Definitely.
3.3 trillion.
Ooh, it's very specific.
We're off.
It's very specific. Why?
It's, I mean, not only the vehicles, it's all the systems, the data, the infrastructure. It's big, man.
There's a lot of, EV is on top of everyone's minds. There's so many different camps, so many opinions on where it's going, what's good, what's bad. I want to hear from both of you guys. What's the most exciting thing happening in EV, and what do people get wrong most of the time?
Yeah, for us, it's fleet electrification. So we've had vehicles on the road already demonstrating to fleets that these vehicles can not only operate cleaner, but they can actually save them money. And I think that's been one of the biggest accelerators when we look at our customers, is they're excited by the economic advantage that electric commercial vehicles can provide. So we have fleets that start by ordering 10 or 20, and then it gets into the hundreds. And from the hundreds, it grows into the thousands. So we actually think fleets are going to adopt electric vehicles faster than consumers, which is a bit of a different opinion from most, but it's really an exciting problem to be solving.
Yeah, and Trevor, Dakota has a very, for his start, very focused niche, an important niche. You see the whole system. Yeah. Basically, you're making Michigan the EV capital of the world.
100%. First of all, ain't no party like a Detroit party, because a Detroit party don't stop.
All right.
These are my people. I have to, anyway. So
you have more verses?
I do, but I'm going to stop because we only have 20 minutes.
All right, perfect.
As of 2017, emissions from transportation passed emissions from built infrastructure like factories globally. So this is, if we can solve emissions, we can really take a bite out of climate change. That's what gets me really excited. But then also, I'm really excited about the democratization or the affordability of electric vehicles. Right now, Chevy Bolts start at $27,000. An average used car is $33,000. You think about what it costs to fill up a Tesla, it's $10 to $16. And there's a company about 40 minutes from here that is building a battery with new chemistry that will allow someone to drive from essentially Detroit to Cincinnati and back on one charge. So the affordability aspect of it does make this a technology for all, because I think one of the misconceptions is that it's not.
Gotcha. How many EV owners do we have out here? We got a few. Very good. Here we go.
The one thing I want to talk about, which I think is important that people tend to forget about, is just the readiness of the infrastructure. If you go to charge a electric vehicle at your home, it's pretty simple. Go and install a 40 amp connection. You plug it in, and you've got power to your vehicle. You can charge overnight. But when it comes to fleets, we're actually charging, in many cases, hundreds of vehicles at a single depot. So that challenge becomes a lot greater. And half of the excitement that we see in the industry really stems from that charging portion, right? And you're starting to see all kinds of new exciting technologies, from wireless charging to inductive charging in the roads to portable charging, right? And that's something that we think will continue to make sure this industry grows at the pace we anticipate it.
Yeah, you would tell me that you have a big client, FedEx. How do they, right now, with your trucks, what's the plan? How is it at nighttime or whatever, how do they recharge those?
Yeah, so FedEx is a unique customer, really interesting. Over 1,000 locations that they have to plan infrastructure for. And really, it's in the locations that have the most dense amount of vehicles today. So you look at large cities like Los Angeles, New York, Detroit, and that's where they're concentrating their focus, because they're not going to change overnight. Any of these large infrastructure projects, they take several years to build out. And so the big areas are the big cities, where they see short routes, they see return-to-base routes, and they see opportunities where electrification already makes economic sense.
Wow. And Trevor, you blew my mind backstage talking about Michigan has now these chargeable roads, and you're building a EV highway. I want to hear about this. Tell me about these charging while you're driving.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
This is real. This is in the present. There's a road that's being developed in Detroit, it's first of its kind in North America, that will charge an electric vehicle as it's in motion. Why that makes sense? Think if you're a transit agency and you want to operate your bus without it sitting at the charging station for an hour, or a delivery van. Time means money. So what we are looking to do is create systems of roads, not every road, but systems of roads where you can constantly sort of run along a loop and charge as you're moving. And then we're also looking at the future parking spots and how you could do wireless charging. We actually, you drive your car 5% of the time, the other 95% of the time, it's standing still. So everyone's like, oh, Michigan, we want to be the leader in mobility. I want to be the leader in immobility. when the car is standing still, I want to own that.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we're looking at wireless parking spots. The future of wireless charging, I think, is something that in 50 years is going to be a real breakthrough.
So all these talks about, we need like all this government money and private money to build these charging stations you plug in. Like, is that kind of just a temporary technology? You see that leapfrogging that with these, with roads and stations that make it obsolete in the future? What do you think?
It's going to take multiple technologies, as it does in most industry, right? There's no one fell swoop that's going to get this all done. So it's going to take conventional plug-in technologies and low-power charging, high-power DC fast charging. It's going to take induction roads. And really, we see that as the way to kind of kick off this industry, is as long as we embrace all of these technologies, test them in the field, get them out there, and let customers start using them, let people drive them, then we'll figure out which ones are the best, and those will really rise to the top.
Wow. What's the biggest misconception with the systems right now? Whether it's the cars, the charging, what do people get wrong? And then also, two-part question, something that's underrated that no one's talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go back to affordability for a moment to start. The F-150 Lightning is actually the lowest cost-to-own pickup that Ford's ever made. So over the life of the vehicle, you actually save money. I think another thing is charging stations are hard to install. Charging station, you can't, like for instance in Michigan, if you have a cottage, you can't drive up north. You get range anxiety. How are you going to get back? There are actually, right now, thousands of charging stations in Michigan if you count all the charging stations. And we actually just received $110 million from the feds to install charging stations all over the state. And I think that's, in the next 10 years, going to be the biggest change if we're here in 2030. Hopefully you guys are back in 2030. Charging stations will be as ubiquitous as any fueling option.
Yeah, I think affordability is the largest thing that is a misnomer when we talk to folks. People tend to look at the price premium that electric vehicles are and think that that can't be earned back. But today, we see fleet operators already saving upwards of 30–40% on their annual operating costs, which offsets that small initial purchase price difference. And so getting them in the field, getting them out there, getting them working in front of folks is the key enabler for folks to actually see how much better the technology can be. I think the other misnomer is really about the reliability of battery systems and how long they're lasting in the field. Batteries have been around in their current form, lithium-ion cells that are in the likes of a Tesla today, for over 20 years. So it's a very, very well-known technology. And those are batteries that last well north of 8 to 10 years. I've owned an EV for over 8 years, and I still get over 200 miles in my car. And so when you look at that technology, it's degraded over about 8 years, 10%, which is a very usable number. But we're already starting to see the creation of some really advanced cell chemistries that will enable double or potentially even triple the range and the energy density that we see in today's batteries. And I think that's where range anxiety is really a term of the past. It's something that we don't even encounter today.
Yeah, so right now the big technology is going to be the batteries.
Absolutely.
Kind of like LEDs, like this screen would have cost like $1 million 10 years ago. Now it's, who knows. In terms of, we talked about emissions, and we talked about, obviously the potential there to make life better and cities better. Yeah. What other ramifications will, if everything went EV and you could like snap your fingers, how does that change cities and communities? Sure. Or let's start with Detroit. How would that change Detroit?
Yeah, well, just to back up for a moment, I think in this town you hear autonomous, connected, shared electric, and you think those are descriptors for vehicles. The truth is they're foundational platforms that are hitting every industry right now, from aerospace to consumer goods. And so now I think we're able to leverage our automotive advantage here that we've had for more than a century to lean into some of these other industries and become multimodal, because the future of mobility is multimodal. So I think as electric vehicles become more of a part of our daily lives, so will autonomous technology. So we're connected and shared, because you'll be operating off of sort of the same sort of software systems that will allow for optimization. And the really cool thing about electric vehicles is like you can like give energy back to the grid, right? So if like the power goes down, a school bus now can essentially be an energy storage device that drives over to a nursing home if the nursing home powers out and charge the nursing home or keep the nursing home going. Or your pickup truck can charge your home if there's a natural disaster. So
I've seen that commercial, I think.
Yeah,
very cool.
right. So interesting times.
In terms of you got electric vehicles and then autonomous vehicles, is that something you guys are focused on as well, or is that you just want to focus on the EV mobility and you'll let another company kind of jump on that?
Yeah, so the vast majority of commercial vehicles today are used in short-haul routes. So those are our target customers. And in those applications, like last-mile delivery or vocational trucks, like a trash truck or a city repair truck, there's actually an operator in that truck doing another function.
Yeah.
Whether it's delivering a package, it's picking up your garbage, you need that operator there. So when we think about autonomy, it's all about improving the safety and improving the driver usability of that vehicle in their environment. So we're doing ADAS technology in all of our vehicles today, whether it's FCAM, whether it's lane keep assistance, whether it's driver awareness notifications, driver safety monitoring, all to focus on making that a safer workplace for the people who are really helping maintain our infrastructure, helping build our packages. So that's really how we think about autonomy. And when you look at long-haul trucks, it's a totally different solution, right? That driver might be driving the same road for 12 hours. That's not really the space that we're focused on.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Yeah, it's small routes. People are doing other services and as well.
Exactly.
You're in Michigan, so you have the big three.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Actually, we have 22 automakers based here.
22.
So Detroit 3 is so like 2000 and late.
You're on the cutting edge. Like, what's exciting about what you? What did you say?
Never mind.
Sorry, I couldn't hear. Weird feedback. I couldn't hear that. In terms of what are you excited about? Like, what do you know? What's coming in the next 5 years that no one out here knows?
Yeah, I'm excited to see the workforce transition to a more software-based workforce. I think we're doing an excellent job at the state level and the city level preparing. We got a lot of work to do. I'm excited to see the future of like battery swapping, battery recycling, and what that process is going to look like. Or you can go to the dealer and swap out your battery. Like, I'm excited to see the different business models that pop up. Many of them, will start here, and that's the role we should play. I mean, Michigan's the home of the 3-color traffic light, the first paved road. Everything around the vehicle is changing, and we're also responsible for helping change that environment around the vehicle, not just pump vehicles off the line.
How about for the consumer?
For the consumer?
Yeah. Like what big technology is coming in a couple years that's going to change how all of us get around in cars or the experience, or what do you think?
I think things are going to become more multidimensional. Roads are going to become quieter, so sirens and horns may be a thing of the past eventually, because we'll have software systems, we'll have artificial intelligence. I think the skies above will be clearer because there'll be more electric vehicles on the road. I think quality of life will go up. People will begin to see the tangible benefits of electric vehicles, where right now I can talk until I'm blue in the face and you may still not believe me.
Well, without sirens and horns, New Yorkers can't go to sleep, so I don't know.
I know.
It's going to work. What about you? We have 30 seconds left, unfortunately. Give me a bold vision, a bold prediction.
Well, being in New York City, your trash truck waking you up at 4 in the morning, that's going to be quiet now, so you won't even hear that happening. I think
they're loud. Those bottles crashing are loud, man.
Yeah. Well, Trevor already pointed it out, right? You look at this space; it's rapidly evolving, but we're still at such a small percentage of the industry. We have so much room to grow and so much exposure to potentially have other folks experience these vehicles and experience them in your neighborhood, right? And see how much quieter it is when an electric delivery truck comes up to deliver your Amazon package versus a big noisy diesel one that's spewing emissions into your home.
Well, I have a lot of Amazon packages, so I'll test you to that. That's great. We're out of time. That was way fast. Trevor, Dakota, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.